Today's scripture is from Hebrews. Hebrews sounds like it should belong in the Old Testament, but it's a New Testament book speaking directly to the Jews about the place of Jesus in their faith journey. It has much that we can apply today, but one takeaway on this All Saints' Day is the inspiration and encouragement that we can draw from faithful figures of the past. Hebrews chapter 12, verses 1 and 2. Therefore, since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, let us also lay aside every weight and the sin that clings so closely. And let us run with perseverance the race that is set before us, looking to Jesus, the pioneer and perfecter of faith. For the sake of joy that was set before him, endured the cross, disregarding its shame, and has taken his seat at the right hand of the throne of God.
It begins like a shimmer on the horizon, a flicker of orange, a fluttering of fire, as sparks rise from an unseen flame. Yet with a shift, eyes begin to adjust, and you see them. Hundreds, then thousands, monarch butterflies, their wings glowing like embers against an autumn sky. They descend in waves, swirling through the mountain air of Michoacan, landing on the branches of the Oyamel fir trees, until the trees themselves seem to breathe, alive with movement, alive with color. And then, as the sun begins to set, they take flight again, drifting downward toward the villages and cemeteries below, toward the scent of the cempasúchil, the marigold flower, whose golden petals are scattered along the paths to guide the spirits home. To the Purepecha people of this region, these butterflies are not simply beautiful creatures. They are messengers, the souls of loved ones returning home, and their arrival each year at the end of October and the very beginning of November coincides perfectly with the time known as Dia de los Muertos, the Day of the Dead, or as we celebrate, All Saints' Day. And so for generations, the Purepecha have believed that the monarchs carry the spirits of the departed on their long, miraculous migration. Their journey mirrors the journey of the soul itself. It is arduous and mysterious, crossing vast distances, guided only by light, by instinct, perhaps by love. And when they arrive, it is as though the veil between the worlds grows thin and heaven brushes up against earth. Not far from where the monarchs land lies the island of Janitzio. This is a small island that rises from the middle of the Lake Pátzcuaro. And there, as night falls on November 1st, the living begin their pilgrimage across the water. Boats heavy with families, flowers, and candles making their way toward the island's glowing crown, a cemetery which is illuminated by hundreds of flickering lights. And from a distance, it looks as though the stars have fallen from the sky. People are climbing the hill with baskets of food and photographs and music and marigolds. And then they gather at the graves of their loved ones to eat and sing and tell stories. And children will play among the tombs as the living and dead keep vigil together, not in fear, but in joy. And it is said that if you stand quietly in the early hours before dawn, you can feel the presence of those who have gone before, as if the whole island breathes with one heartbeat of love. Dia de los Muertos. It's a tradition that came when Spanish colonizers brought the Catholic Feast of All Saints and All Souls to meet the ancient Aztec and Purupecha rituals of honoring their ancestors. These two worlds met, and instead of one completely erasing the other, something new actually emerged. A way of remembering that is at one point fully Christian and also derived from the indigenous, earthly and eternal, solemn and full of joy. And so on that night, people build ofrendas, altars in their home, covered in candles and bread, sugar skulls, and marigolds. And we'll see that happening here in our Southern California tradition as it begins to share that tradition beyond simply the Mexicano and the indigenous people. And every object they bring becomes an object of offering of love. It's light for the journey, it's bread for the soul, and the flowers are there to guide the way. And so today we've been building our own sanctuary. It's not made of marigolds, but it glows, and it's about to glow even more with sacred fire. May each candle we light be like the monarch, the small wing of flame that carries the memory of somebody we love. The 7 candles on our altar now remind us of those in our congregation who died this year. But we know that each of us is holding and remembering someone, maybe who died in this past 12 months, maybe who died even longer than that. And the lights that we kindle together say that you are not forgotten. Your love lives on in us. And soon, our table will be fully ablaze, our own Janitzio. May the air shimmer with memory, and the veil between heaven and earth be as thin as a butterfly's wing. We come to this table always as a table of remembrance. At its core, that is what our altar is. We sometimes refer to it only as the communion table, but it is an ofrenda, a Christian ofrenda, to remember. And just as families in Janitzio and throughout Mexico, and even here, bring food to share with their beloved dead, bread, tamales, pan de muerto, coffee even, chocolate, we also get to bring our meal of memory, our Holy Communion. In its own way, it's sort of a sacred picnic with the past, a feast that spreads across time and into eternity.